Next up is Mark Keegan. Mark is let me move on to this. So Mark is the head of HR for Stack's Pharmacy Group, which owns and operates 18 pharmacies around the country. Mark himself has a master's in strategic HR management and sits on the leadership team of Stack's. Over the last 12 months, Stack's have gone on a journey using Lean to benefit their business, their people and the bottom line. So welcome, Mark.
Hi guys, as I said, my name is Mark Keegan. Just as a show of hands, who knows what Lean is? Okay, cool people. People that don't know, it's basically a process improvement plan. And when I was sitting on Sunday looking at the business post, and it popped up, it's a guy called Barry Murphy, had a clothing business and basically said it revolutionised his business and he saved a fortune. So I got onto the MD and the first email I got back was, why? And again, I tried to explain it and she still didn't understand, so I forced her to go on the course with me. And this is kind of the story of what happened effectively. So Stack's Pharmacy, I said, operates... there we go, yeah, perfect. Oh, they're all clicked. We specialise in community pharmacy as well as nursing home billing for elderly patients. And it's characterised, they don't have emails, they're in nursing homes. And again, we process manual bills that go in the post, and effectively over 1.2 million worth of bills go out through our company between 4 people. But again, looking at it from a HR strategic point of view, I found it very manual. People were copying and using Excel kind of tirelessly. And again, the manual billing processes were taking up to 3 weeks, and physically people were putting paper into envelopes, making mistakes, and again it's like that water charges situation where unfortunately in nursing homes a lot of elderly patients die, and for next of kins or for that person, if they get a bill through the door when unfortunately a patient has died 3 to 6 weeks later, we did receive a lot of complaints and a lot of harsh emails, let's just say, because again we didn't have a CRM system in place, and again queries were taking about 35% of the billings team's time to communicate what the charges were, why the charges were in place, why their mother or father were being charged that. So again, I looked at that as an overall project, and that's when we went went on Lean. And again, as I said, no software was being used, and importantly, no customer relationship management system was being put in place, so that when we picked up the phone, Mr. Mary could or Miss Mary could have called, but again, no one had any backstory of why Mrs. Mary was calling, why she's so angry, or again, why she's querying her bill. So we looked at the process, and we attended the Lean Management Programme with the Managing Director and myself, and again we were hesitant towards it. We said, okay, let's give it a go. But what we actually found, the first insight we found was huge, that there were a lot of managing directors and owner operators were going to it, which gave us other insights from totally different businesses, from wood businesses to medical instrument businesses to a retail shop. We found key insights that they were giving and what they did relevant to the Lean process, and that was one element that we didn't actually expect when we arrived. Actually, we're learning from people in the room rather than the trainer actually that was training us. We conducted the Lean meeting with stakeholders, and to be totally honest, the first one failed miserably. We brought the operations director in, the managing director, the 4 billing administrators, and no one would say anything because it was fear. And that's where we took the first learning, say, here, we don't want the directors in the room. I did the session alone. And again, that's where everybody had a rant, basically. This is what's wrong with the business. This isn't what's happening. And again, we took all that feedback. But what we really did was we said, right, let's start from the start. Let's start a billing program from if we'd never had a billing program before. What would we do differently? And again, Zach's saying we had post-its on the wall. And again, what helped us with the post-its was, it seems stupid, but we assume a lot when we look at our processes in our business. Oh, well, the bill goes out and we get the money. That's what happens. And I strategically dumbed myself down and was the naive person to go, okay, we get the bill. How does the bill get printed? Well, we print it off this machine. Why that machine? Well, that's the only machine that does colour. Well, if we have 4 printers, why aren't we looking at all printers? Because again, delays were happening. So over the time, it actually broke it from a 3-stage process where we process the bills, we print them, we send them out, and we get the money, to actually over 45 actions from getting the bill to actually getting paid. And what allowed us to do was look at single point failures within the business of, if Martha or Mary are out, How do we get the bills processed? Oh, well, she just can't be sick that week. And it identifies huge issues in our business. Say, okay, these are single point failures in our business that we really need to look at. And actually it was a shock for the managing director and operations director at the time, because they assumed our processes were very lean and very quick. But actually when we looked at it, all we needed was one Excel line to be deleted off a spreadsheet, and it was a disaster. And actually we're missing between 10 and 15% of arreared bills that weren't being paid because nobody was looking at them. So we created workflows in the current processes, and then we developed very simple solutions to delays, and again, as I said, found single point failures in them. And they were simple things like one billing administrator had private patients, and a stipulation of one of our nursing homes that wanted, in big red writing, private bill. And again, she was literally typing and copying manually 110 bills with private only, which is again, madness in terms of doing it, but again, not one person knew about it. There was another billing administrator pulling reports every month about arrear payments, but nobody was looking at them. They were sent out and no one ever looked at them. So key insights were gained from doing the process. And again, we then met with the operations and the managing director and conducted a second workshop to action these solutions. And again, a lot of them weren't financial. We didn't need to invest a lot of money. It was just simple operations of processing, from how we get our bills in to how we actually get it paid back by the customer. The outputs, what we found, was more engagement from the team and shared knowledge. So again, the big element for the billing administrators were they felt listened to. They were going on about this for years in hindsight, saying no one was listening to me. I was saying it, but because it worked, because we got our money at the end of the month or the end of the quarter, it worked. But the big element they want to say, yes, it works, but it could be 100 times better. It was a 45% increase in speed of process bills by developing macros through Excel. So again, we engaged with a magic macro person that looked at our Excel spreadsheets. We didn't spend a fortune on it. It was about €1,000. And someone came in, and in the naivety of what we wanted to do, we said, okay, here's how we do it. Here's what we want a magic formula to do. Can it be done, yes or no? And he said, yes, it actually can. We can import this file, you press the submit button, and it would all do all the work for us. And that effectively reduced an entire staff member. There was a 50% reduction in errors from bill payments, and there was a reallocation of one full-time person from a billing administrator to finance as a result of that. And she was delighted because she got progress upstairs, our two-floor business. And again, it was substantial that we could actually effectively reduce it by simply getting one person, a consultant in for €1,000 to do all of this. But because in a lot of businesses, and again, they won't mind me saying this, they weren't tech savvy. We weren't a tech savvy business, and that they believed it couldn't be done. A magic computer can't do all of this. But actually, by consulting with external people and actually looking at other providers, owner-operator businesses in Lean, it allows us to actually question that and say, as much as we thought it couldn't happen, actually it can. And again, overall, both the managing director, myself included, and the operator got a better understanding of the billing function. Whereas I said, we assumed we knew it all. We know how the bills are processed. There was potentially 15 to 20 actions that were being done that on the off cuff of saying, oh, will you start doing reports just to check that on a monthly basis? The girls ran forward with it, did them every month, but then something else gets prioritised. The report's still going around the background, but again, no one's actually looking at it. So it's not making any impact, but again, taking up time from the employee's workday. So added value, I said, overall, we got a database that allows improved customer interactions and a faster response time for billing queries. It improved a GDPR compliance. A lot of queries we got relevant to elderly patients or next of kins, if the mother or father was calling on behalf of the elderly mother, was we did have a risk relevant to data that if I knew Mary Malloy, the question was asked, and again, the lack of GDP or saying, oh, well, who would call about Mary, who would care to call about Mary Malloy? Anyone could. If they want her personal details and they want to do something about her, there was a huge risk there for the business relevant to us that we presumed, well, who would call? Well, actually, a lot of people could for personal details purposes. Again, it allowed us to reduce the cost of the department by 25%, so we now have 3 billing administrators running the same, and we've actually grown by 5 nursing homes. And again, that finance person is now upstairs. And again, has reduced customer queries, leading to a reduction in time spent answering the same question over and over again. One of the simple tools we looked at was, what are the top 10 queries we get called about, guys? Why don't we, in the welcome pack, send this to the next of kin patient or the elderly patient, so they're not querying why they're being charged for vitamins or why they're being charged for paracetamol, because the presumption is in a nursing home that it's all paid for. And again, that hugely reduced the calls to us. Just those 10 simple questions relevant to what was reoccurring all the time through the phones. And last thing, it led future engagement of the billing system, again, to continuously improve the systems. So now every quarter we meet again and see it doesn't just stop at that, okay, we fixed it, let's move on. The billing team have a micro team now that effectively engage, say, how can we fix this issue? And again, it's fed up the pipeline to the senior leadership team, say, okay, we need investment here or we need improvements here. This isn't working out. So it is a continuous feedback loop that doesn't allow, right, we fixed it, lean's been done, tick the box, get the picture and go home. We're actually now rolling it out to billing, finance, even HR. We're looking at our processes to say what's assumed actually always isn't assumed. What could actually happen is you break it down, go, actually there's a single point failure there, we need to actually look at that overall. So then on reflection, again, I was hesitant towards the time and money it would take to get solutions, and a lot were low-hanging fruit, easy solutions that by simply engaging with the team and listening and actually making the time to listen to them and put a plan in place, it said it's hugely financially benefited us as well as engage the team further, and again gives everyone a better understanding of the overall billing process. It allowed the team to talk and develop internal solutions, and again, as I said, it gained a better understanding of the ins and outs of billing and how it could be further improved on an ongoing basis. And ultimately, it created happier customers, that we had a system in place that when Mary Malloy called us, that we could say, oh, you were speaking to Jessica yesterday, I can see, yes, you're querying your bill, we're actioning that at the moment, it's pending, it's in process. Whereas previous 12 months ago it was, were you talking to Mary Malloy? I wasn't. Who was talking? Oh, that's Janice. Janice was off that day. Here, I'll take it. What's your issue? And it's like a reset again, frustrating the customer. So ultimately, that's the biggest value we've seen with Lean, that it creates happier customers, a reduction in the queries, and overall happier employees. And again, everyone is effectively still engaged with it. It's now part of our senior leadership team meetings, and again, it's about continuous improvement and how can we make things more lean, more processed, and again, not just all about the money, about how do we create happier employees overall. And that's me. Thank you.